Ring of Honor to AEW confirmed. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Chopper Pete Quinnell. Welcome to the AEW Dynamite Review Podcast. Please, if you haven't already, give us a subscribe. Send in your Omegachats to WrestleTalk.com/support or read out every single one of them over $5 before the end of the show. That's US dollars, not Australian dollars.
Or Canadian dollars.
Well, not I don't even dignify Canada with to say their currency. It's a joke. Do subscribe because we've got loads of
especially you Canadians
coming
out there. If you could subscribe, that'd be lovely.
It's free.
Yeah.
Loads of content coming up over the next few days, particularly predictions for AEW Revolution right after this show and the Revolution live reactions on Sunday. But before we get to any of that, the biggest thing on this episode of Dynamite was the opening segment. It was Tony Khan's huge teased announcement. And it wasn't really anything to do with Revolution.
Mm-mm.
It was that Tony Khan is the new owner of Ring of Honor.
Pretty big deal, that one.
Pretty. I think
big.
that ticks the box of the level of announcement he was teasing.
I agree. I think this was a worthy announcement. I do have a slight criticism of it, though.
Oh my God! Can we do some positives first?
Isn't that cool? For AEW, it's nice. It's good. Well done, AEW. That's nice.
Let me quickly run down how it came about.
Please do.
Tony Schiavone, Tony Khan, the two-tone dynamic duo from Impact Wrestling are in the ring. They're in Daly's place. Rubbish crowd.
Yeah.
All night.
Not been great.
I don't know if they were mic'd wrong, but it just felt like they were kind of disinterested.
Yeah.
Felt a bit full-saily.
A little bit. Yeah.
Maybe it's symptomatic of overrunning the area. But Tony Khan said, here's my big announcement. He did it as Tony Khan. It wasn't like a character or anything. There was no kayfabe bits. He said, we started this company out there in that parking lot 3 years ago. A lot of you were here. Thank the fans. It was very nice the way he did it. And then he said, but another company started 17 years ago, and it's Ring of Honor, and I am the new owner. Not AEW has bought it. Tony Khan is the new owner.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know I don't know if that is a specific thing to dive into.
I feel like it's significant. It's not like, AEW now owns Ring of Honor, because I think that would make it sound like it's Ring of Honor is a subsidiary of AEW, which it still might be. That might be how it's still used going forward. But we don't really know yet in what capacity it's going to be used in, which is kind of my little criticism of it, is that I don't know why this needed to be announced on Dynamite. Because if you're not going to explain how you're going to use Ring of Honor, because they've not got any of the talent, because the talent were all released from their contract, so it's not like they're bringing in a bunch of wrestlers or anything. They've got the assets, they've got the tape library, they've got all of the the intellectual property of Ring of Honor. But he just said, I know I'm Ring of Honor, and that's it. That was the whole announcement. That was it. There wasn't like and that means we're going to have Ring of Honor wrestlers coming in here. Doesn't mean AEW wrestlers are going to be going over to Ring of Honor. There was no explanation or expectation of how it's going to impact AEW programming at all, which is why I don't think it really needed to be announced on Dynamite. It's a big deal by all means, but speaking to the AEW Dynamite audience and the people watching at home, not explaining how that's actually going to impact the week-to-week show of AEW Dynamite or Rampage or Dark Elevation or whatever, I just feel like it was a bit like, okay, that's cool, and what you gonna do with it? Which he doesn't have to announce, but I felt like if he was announcing it on Dynamite, he probably should have, or at least gave some sort of indication. That was my thing. I was like, that's cool. Not good for you, Tony. And that was where I was at. I wasn't like, oh my God, they bought Ring of Honor. They're going to do this thing. They're going to do this thing. Oh, wow. I was like, good for you, Tony. That's nice.
I suppose you could compare this with other similar instances in AEW's history. The Winter is Coming crossover with Impact. When Kenta showed up at the end of a Dynamite episode, I would say both of those, I was immediately like, yes, I know what's coming here.
Yeah.
But then, must admit, my expectations were not met.
No.
I feel like the Impact thing was quite a missed opportunity. So maybe that's good that we're starting off a bit less unexplained. I think the very practical reason to announce it like this is because you get people to tune in for the go-home show to sell Revolution. It was a tactic that worked very well for them before, where they're like, we've got a huge announcement. And AEW, to their credit, have a history of delivering on the big announcements. And they've done it again for me. So you get more people to watch. They've got a lot of competition right now with the news. The news is just eating all ratings. So there's one reason to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure it popped them a rating. And I'm talking as more of like just a fan perspective, not thinking about the business side of it or whatever, or the ratings or whatever. Just as a fan of the content of the TV show, I don't think it really helped the show in this particular week. If that makes sense. I'd agree with that.
Yeah. Because I hadn't thought of. When I got into the office, I was like, it's all I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank God producer Rich was there. Because he's got the OG Ring of Honor hoodie he always wears. And I love Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was one of the things that saved me from just falling out of wrestling in 2010, 2011 when Jim Cornette had the book. Like one of my all-time favorite runs of any promotion is that sort of Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, The Rise of Kyle O'Reilly, American Wolves, Kevin Steen, El Generico. What happened to him?
Yeah, who knows?
So I love Ring of Honor. And then I was like, yes, this is awesome. Because I keep thinking, Ring of Honor invasion angle.
I just wanted to quickly point out that you just said, in previous things of AEW, my expectations weren't really met. So what are your very level-headed expectations you've got for this?
That it's going to be an industry-changing invasion storyline. Well, no, I got into the office and me and Rich were talking about it, and both you and Andy were like, I don't really have any affiliation to Ring of Honor, which is totally fair enough because they haven't really been relevant. I would argue Bullet Club were relevant when it was last a thing, so 2016 to 18. Haven't really been relevant and very, 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 very good for a decade. So when you hear this news, you're understandably like, cool.
That's nice. Yeah.
And I suppose to you, it kind of just looks... I used to have a friend at junior school. I won't say his name, but he had a lot of money and he let you know it. And he would just be like, hey, look at this thing I've just bought. Look at this thing I've just bought every Monday. Something new he got over the weekend. I guess it does kind of come off a bit like, hey, I just bought this thing, everybody.
Yeah.
Good for me.
Isn't that great?
Did you feel like there wasn't enough of an explanation of why it is also good for you as an AEW fan?
Exactly, yeah. As from a fan perspective, it was like, okay, and... So I understand the history of Ring of Honor and why it in theory would benefit AEW, but it just wasn't explained that way. So as I keep saying, like, if a casual AEW fan, I don't know if a casual AEW fan really exists, but a more casual AEW fan who doesn't necessarily have the history of Ring of Honor or anything like that, they're like, all right, why is this a big deal? And it wasn't explained why it's a big deal, if that makes sense. It is a big announcement. It is huge, and I don't want to downplay that it is a huge deal that Tony Khan has purchased Ring of Honor, but it just feels like the what's the word I'm looking for? Grandeur of the announcement wasn't fully explained as to why everyone should care about it.
So what could have made it okay for you?
I assume that Tony Khan has some sort of plan for buying Ring of Honor. Why he bought it was presumably, not just for the tape library. I presume he has some sort of plan for the promotion.
Well, the report from Fightful Select just this week was that ROH have TV tapings booked in right the way through to the end of the year.
So you'd assume that TK's had some sort of hand in, channeling the promotion's future. So some sort of indication as to why that matters to an AEW fan would have been nice, I think. It's not the end of the world. I'm still, it's a nice announcement and everything. But yeah, just having it be a bit more overt and be like, I purchased Ring of Honor, and that means this for you guys. This is how it's going to impact you in particular. Because without that, it does just feel like, I bought a thing. Everyone be happy. Yay,
oh
me.
Oh my God, you're rich.
I'm a billionaire.
Yes.
Woo! Little bit. Like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't... I didn't feel, like, resentful to him. I was like, ugh, rich man or anything like that. But it was a bit like, okay, That's nice for you.
Now you're saying this, and I do agree. I think for a lot of the younger viewers or people who just weren't following wrestling at the Ring of Honor heyday time, so, lapsed fans who have come back for AEW, which apparently there are quite a few, you needed something to explain it. You're totally right. So maybe it isn't so much Tony Khan in the ring. It could have been one of the... Cody would have been the best person to do this. So I get, okay, let's stick with Tony. He comes out to the ring. He says that. Cue video package. Yeah. Video package, just like a 3-4 minute bit explaining the history of ROH. Look at every single member of our roster that's come through it. And then maybe every now and again, you put in a little shot of Samoa Joe. You put in a little shot of Claudio Castagnoli. Just to sort of...
Yeah.
Would that
I think so.
It's not an explanation of plans. It's just, here's a reminder of why that's a big deal.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I think that would have been fine. Either a history of the past or an indication of the future. Either of those I think would have sufficed for me.
I think an indication of the future. I think it's right that they didn't say everything right now. That's something you can drip feed over time. But I do think you're right with the past bit, particularly with what this immediately ran into, which I thought was a really inspired decision. Hey, we've got Christopher Daniels and Bryan Danielson, so many Dans, on our roster right now. They were 2 of the 3 people in the first ever main event of the first ever Ring of Honor show. So they both come out. They have this, they shake hands. For me, that just, I was like, oh my God. That's the thing. In that moment, I was like, yes, Ring of Honor. Brought all those feelings back to me. And they had, a really good match. I thought Daniels looked a bit rusty, but the whole occasion was enough. But afterwards, I was like, oh, I wish you kind of played a clip of that main event. You own the footage now.
Yeah.
So it is just a bit it was a bit detached from the sort of archival potential.
Yes. And I'm sure we're going to see more of it in the future in various video packages and stuff like that. But as of the impact of the announcement of being here's my big, huge announcement, it felt a bit okay. It was missing something, just to kind of put that full stop and that exclamation point on the announcement is all. But
do you want to wildly speculate?
Good. I feel like you can do that better than I can.
Okay, where do we start? Right. This is a lot of content to go on the library. Potentially AEW setting up their own streaming platform. Potentially they've already kind of loosely agreed something, and this is more content to put on a HBO Max or something, which is with Warner Brothers, so there's that exciting stuff. Then you've also got the idea of what happens to Ring of Honor now, because reportedly it is going to continue to be run as a show, potentially as a touring show, which was losing a lot of money even before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Is Cody gonna run it?
I don't know anymore.
I don't think so.
I don't... You know what? I don't think so, but I would have said that about Cody leaving AEW. I would have said, no, he's not going to do that. And then he did, so I don't know.
There's this one bit that keeps just nagging at the back of my head, and it's Cody's bit at the end of a Sammy Guevara vlog. And it was just before the end of last year, and he said, we're going to do something you've never seen before. And that's when these sorts of talks would have been happening.
Oh, I don't know anymore, Ollie. I don't know. I honestly can't speculate anymore, because the whole Cody thing has just thrown everybody through a loop. Because that seems like a thing that would never seemed possible before, of Cody leaving AEW. And everyone's gone, well, anything can happen at this point, I guess.
Well, if it's no Cody, William Regal.
That'd be fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd like that.
What about Ring of Honor? So one thing Meltzer spoke about today was historically every sort of combat sports professional wrestling company that's bought its competitor with the idea of running it by itself.
Yes.
About a year in, they go, you know what? There's a reason we were able to buy this company. It's because it was a pretty dead brand, and our brand is better. Let's just run the shows as AEW because you'll get more people. AEW is a more recognizable name than Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So
what's the point?
Yeah. So
continuing with RH as a promotion.
AEW Ring of Honor on Friday nights instead of Rampage?
Well, I don't know if that will change anything. I think if you do that, it's got to be a brand split, right?
I'm not a fan of that. I don't want them to do a brand split. I'm not keen on that. I don't know whether it is just going to become like a separate, like, just a brand name. Just like this is a special show that we're calling a Ring of Honor show, but it doesn't actually really mean anything in terms of like grandeur, or it's not going to change the product necessarily.
Well, they've got their own titles. They've got their own rules, like the Pure Championship, the whole idea of the Code of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've not really got a great history of a women's division. They did have a women's division, but it was never really to the extent of what it should have been.
No.
So it's not like AEW can make that bit work.
No.
There's a Surfshark logo on the screen. Right
yeah,
below Pete.
I saw that, but I had to get up, so I've been talking.
You can get up, but it's okay. I don't mind giving Surfshark free advertising space. They're amazing.
There you go, I fixed it.
Luke's
off.
Was that what you were so fidgety about?
I was, yeah. I was checking my phone and I was like, I feel like, am I missing something? Is the stream okay? Because I realized that I can't actually check if the stream's all right. So I just checked my phone. I was like, if someone would have messaged me, Mod Mother would have messaged me.
Oh yeah, she would have let us know.
She did, to say, hey, there's a Surfshark logo on the screen.
One more thing about the ROH AEW stuff is what you just said about Rampage. It's like, I don't think Rampage has been a success.
No, I agree.
So shouldn't you get that bit right before you buy another thing?
I think it depends what you class as a success, because I think that Rampage is pretty definitively the B show to Dynamite's A show, for sure.
Which is something they said they did not want.
Exactly.
So they failed there.
They have failed at what they have set that up to be. I still think it is a fun show, and if your barometer for if it's a success or not is it fun? Yeah, it's still fun. It's not a bad show.
Easiest show to watch every week. Flies by.
Yeah, it's real good fun. So I guess it just depends if what they want out of the show has changed. If they're just happy with it being a fun show that gets them a bit more screen time for their talent, it's just a slightly better Dark or Dark Elevation. Cool. You can keep that.
What happens to Dark and Dark Elevation?
I'll just keep going. Doesn't matter.
Tony's taken on too much work. This is my concern.
Here's another bit. Tony Khan is the one that owns Ring of Honor, not AEW.
Well, that's what was said, yeah.
Tony can't run a second promotion alongside AEW because he already does a lot of stuff in AEW.
Yeah, Triple H,
yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's exactly where I was going with that point.
He did have a Shane McMahon line in this.
He did, yes. There's no Shane here, just me. The contract does say reference. McMahon.
It says Khan.
Nick Khan, everyone. I think he's going to need to at least delegate that to at least one person, you'd assume. Could be Cody. Probably not. I think Samoa Joe would be very cool. Because, Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think you probably want someone... Hunter Delirious was the booker before, long time booker.
Yeah,
Gabe Sapowski. Wait, I can't remember people's cancelled status sometimes. I think Gabe's okay.
I can't remember. I'll be honest. Yeah.
Freaking what's his face who runs GCW is really onto something right now.
Yeah, sure is.
But yeah, in businesses, in warfare, when anyone diversifies too much or they start trying to do too many things, it dilutes the main product. I'm amazed that hasn't happened to Dynamite already. If anything, Dynamite's getting better.
Yeah.
But Burnout, with 3 years in now, the wheels historically will start to come off if you keep lumping in things and expecting the same core team to do it. Trust me, it happens with us.
I was going to say, I'm glad that you put on that expedition and expect the core team to do it, because that's what we've been doing a lot lately. Well, that's the big
lesson this year. I just get more people in now.
Get more people in to do the stuff, yeah. I did quite like that, because it sounded like You're being very hypocritical at the start of being like, if you diversify too much, then, it dilutes the main product. And that's literally what we did, was separate everything and diversify everything onto its own channels and all
Very
that.
different. Very different. We simplified the content streams.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got a bunch more people in, which
built
definitely
those
helped.
out.
So, yeah.
Let's see what you guys think. WrestleTalk.com/support. Get in your non-Canadian dollar, please. Omegachats. Rain Tech says, "Hi lads, awesome go home show. And Tony bought ROH. By God. Most talent actually have been let go from ROH, so we might see the several AEW talent, Brian Cage and question marks, move to ROH. This unbloats their roster. Now they need all that talent."
I think they might do the WrestleTalk Classic with this, in that we always go like, we've got more people on. That means we can do more content, and then we do more content, and then we get stretched to thinking, we need more people. Then we got more people. I'm like, we've got more people, we can do more content. So it might be a case where he's gone, Ring of Honor, got all this room. Yeah. Let's hire more people, bring in more wrestlers. And then they bloat the Ring of Honor roster as well as AEW roster.
It's a goddamn baller move to deal with the we've got too much talent problem. Buy another promotion. And then buy some more wrestlers. That is what you've described, though, is the sign of a healthy, growing company.
Yeah.
Jacob Smith. Wait, so this whole time I've been manifesting the ROH Trios titles? Damn monkey's paw. Good business aside, ROH will be a great feeder league, dark is developmental, that caters to hardcore fans, while AEW continues to build its excellent global brand. John Wright. Haven't been excited for Dynamite in the last few months. The lack of women on the show, favoritism over ex-WWE stars. But this ROH news has got me back. Treat it as a developmental or a second brand to feature wrestlers you're not using on TV.
Is that not what Dark and Dark Elevation's for?
Well, I think with this, they're going to have to restructure everything. Let's just... I've lost my place, weirdly. And this one. Yeah. The Decker Dane. Awesome to hear Khan picking up ROH. It offers exciting new possibilities for talent and encourages fans to check out the upcoming relaunch, which is, in April. That's definitely a must-watch show now.
Yeah.
Jonathan Hedman. Tony Khan came across like Herb Abrams in his manic excitement. Oh, I hope this means I can fill in my DVD collection soon. Also, cheer up, Pete. Yes, Tony Khan was excited.
He was very excited about this.
It was adorable.
He had a shiny new toy. He was like, everyone look at my shiny new toy.
The bad one, Jambeard. I said this last night to the Fightful review show. Now that AEW have the all-in video footage, which is a huge part we didn't bring up just now, and also now own ROH, make the all-in as the annual supercard show between AEW, ROH, and maybe even New Japan as well.
Annual?
It'd be
maybe.
Weird with All Out taking that place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I'd keep All In as like the year one prologue.
Yeah.
Besides, Forbidden War is the name for the show you're describing.
Forbidden Door.
Nate S. Ollie, as a businessman who likes businessy business numbers stuff, maybe you can explain. How long would a deal like this take to come about? Do you think TK had been in these talks for months, weeks? Would he have had influence on their schedule before now? I mean...
That can vary massively, right?
How long's a piece of string, that sort of argument. Because, as you can see with Chelsea and Abramovich right now, they are rushing that through something fierce because the government will freeze it otherwise. So it's like, if Sinclair wanted to offload it and the price was right, you can rush through that deal really quickly. But what Meltzer was saying was that Tony Khan was putting the finishing touches on it 2 weeks ago. So really, and it was last October, November that ROH made the hiatus announcement. So I've got to think as soon as that announcement was made, and Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated reported, hey, the content library's for sale.
Yeah.
Surely Tony either approached them back in October or they approached Tony. So, 4 or 5 months. Plasma PT. Morning, Pete and Ollie. On a personal level, TK buying ROH feels like when NXT became NXT 2.0. I am genuinely unhappy about this because ROH was a month away from showing its relaunch. It doesn't feel like a win because the wrestling world got smaller.
There is that it's a small part of me, but there is a part of it that's like, okay, this is another really large wrestling company buying up another wrestling promotion.
Usually I would agree with you. You know, you had this with WWE bought Progress and ICW and all those relationships. But I feel like, unfortunately, the indie scene in general, apart from a few outliers like Define, GCW, the indie scene has taken a battering, right, after the last 2 years. So this feels more like ROH have been saved to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I see your concern, PD. Opinionated movies. I think a brand split could work. If you do it, give each show a different feel. E.g., Dynamite is more wrestling, Punk Danielson, MJF, Keith Lee, and Rampage's indie, Cole Omega, Orange Cassidy, Chauffeur Marks. I don't think that's the way to differentiate them. I think when you're describing Punk and Danielson as the people not for the marks, you've lost sight of what is a mainstream star. Maybe then use ROH as a more developmental brand.
ROH's developmental makes sense to me.
Yes. Well, let's get into the rest of the show. Keep on getting your chats in to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one of them over $5. We've covered the opening. We've covered Danielson versus Daniels. But at the end of that match, Danielson cut a promo, said, "Give it up for Fallen Angel. In Ring of Honor, we used to shake the hands at the end of the match as well." And he shook Daniels' hand. And he said, I'm not in Ring of Honor. And started kicking him in the head.
Very good. Very good stuff. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Yeah. Not much else to it, but it was fun.
Well, then Moxley interrupted, came out, and of all the metaphors to use, he said that he's at a crossroads.
I don't think that's weird.
Well, that doesn't fit with the story.
I think you might be slightly reading too much into it.
How does Crossroads fit with their feud?
Because he can choose two different paths. That's what he's.
He's already chosen to fight him.
Well, yeah. I can't remember what the two options he said he had. Honestly, I know he said he was choosing the one path that was through bullets, through fire, and through you. I remember he said that was a fun line, but I can't remember what was the other one. Just said he could walk away.
Yeah,
because that's not an option.
Look, Moxley, amazing as always.
Oh yeah,
that stuck out weirdly.
Yeah.
Danielson pretended he was going to fight right here, but then he walked off. Goddamn,
classic.
Heel. Darby and Sting got a promo on Sammy because it's going to be a three-way. Darby versus Sammy versus Andrade. Why is that not the pay-per-view match?
I don't know.
Sting needs to wrestle.
Put that on Revolution. I mean, I guess genuinely they might have just gone, well, we should probably put Sting in a match.
I don't understand that.
No.
Then we got, for the next half hour, the Casino Battle Royal, or as I have taken to calling it, the losers from last week Battle Royal.
Yep.
For me, this was mostly entrances. There wasn't the sort of fun spots and interactions we had in the match last week, but it did have the cool opening of Darius returning to reunite Top Flight. They lasted all the way through to the end, but predictably, Young Bucks won.
Yeah. I think, just as a note on Darius coming back, when he came back, I was like, oh yeah, Dante's in a tag team. Like, I totally forgot. I think they've done a really good job of, like, building up Dante Martin in Darius's absence. So them being reunited, I'm like, I actually feel way more into Top Flight than I was before, like, when he left. So I think they've done a really, really good job of that. It was cool to see them back. The Acclaimed had a good rap. I love Max Caster. They got a really big pop when their music hit. The crowd went nuts for the Acclaimed when they came out, which was cool.
Y'all less popular than Glenn Jacobs' tweets.
That's the one
was
line
the
I
killer
wrote down.
line.
That was well good. Love it.
But it's edgy.
It's edgy.
But he's an edgelord.
He is an edge man.
I like Edge.
Yeah, sure. The last
crazy
three,
hair.
in fact, the last 4 teams that came out in this Battle Royal were Ryan Nemeth and Peter Avalon.
Threats.
The Gun Club.
Credible.
Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson.
They could win it.
And 2.0.
Hmm.
That's your last 4.
When the music hit for 2.0, I was like, whose music is this? Because I swear they never get entrances.
Yeah.
They just appear at ringside and beat up Sting.
Like all of these teams, realistically, the ones who would look legitimate contenders of winning, FTR, to a degree Top Flight because of how they were treated in the match itself, Santana and Ortiz.
They didn't do anything in this match.
The Young Bucks.
They won.
About it, right? And then it was just filled with Bear Country and
Grayson. You had Best Friends in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great tag teams, but none of them felt like they had a chance of winning this.
No, not at all.
Which meant it was just a 30-minute way to get to the Young Bucks winning, which
pretty much
I'd figured out. There was a nice bit near the end where Darius could have won it. And I got into that, but
yeah,
I never believed it.
No, never believed it for a second that he was going to win, but it was quite fun. But yeah, it was a low blow from Matt Jackson. A super kick on the outside got him the win. Red Dragon also came out to help the Bucks. They were kind of on the same page, which I was more interested in that, I'll be honest, of them coming out. They kind of helped eliminate FTR to help the Bucks get the win in the end. And they were on the same page afterwards. They were celebrating with them, doing little fist bumps and stuff. I was like, okay, they're on the same page. That's interesting.
Yeah, because the previous week, they were very much at each other's throats. But Cole was like, no, you need to play nice, boyfriends.
Yeah.
Jurassic Express came out on the ramp as well, and they all looked at each other. That was it. And this is kind of the story of the show outside of the ROH announcement, which to me is not a Revolution hype thing.
No.
As newsworthy as it is. And the CM Punk MJF stuff, which was 10 out of 10. Everything else on this show, particularly your big championship feuds, the men's, women's, and tag belts, I was like, the matches will be great, but these stories, I'm not that into them.
I'm not either. I thought this was. I think you hit the nail on the head in your edited review when you're like, I'm still really excited for Revolution, but I don't think it's because of this show. It didn't harm my excitement. I just wasn't more excited because of it. And you would have thought that this would have been the time to really kind of like nail all these stories, hammer it home to be like, you have to watch this Sunday because of this. And all it was like, well, we've already done all the hype, so here's the people that are going to be on the show. You get to see them fight. There you go. That's by the show, which isn't quite the high point you want to leave him on really on the go home shows.
One of those very anticipated matches. We were arguing whether it's the third or fourth most anticipated match on the Revolution card, because it's
fourth.
Punk and MJF number 1.
Yeah.
Moxley and Danielson number 2. And then for me, it's probably Jericho and Kingston. But that's because I love Kingston and he's my best friend.
Kingston's amazing.
And then I'd put Cole and Page.
Kingston's amazing. I really, really don't care about Jericho. So that
but Jericho does.
Jericho really cares about himself, yeah. Which is why and I love Adam Cole. So that's why Hangman and Cole is more anticipated for me than Jericho Kingston.
We got Jericho in a backstage promo at this point when he said the wrestling world is buzzing over their promo segment last week. He said the words promo segment, caught himself, and then went, sorry, Eddie would call that a conversation. And it's like, oh yeah, screw Eddie for trying to pretend like this is real. I did not get the point of this. I did not like it when Jericho said you're a good promo last week. Or you could have been a great baby face last week.
Yeah.
And Eddie's like, what's a baby face?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me really into the emotion of this and then occasionally go, oh, but it's fake.
Yeah. I'm trying to... This is completely devil's advocate because I totally agree with you. Is Jericho trying to lean into more of like, I'm a sports entertainer thing than I am a wrestler? So he's like doing I'm going to say all the, this is all the fake stuff because I'm not a real wrestler. I'm a sports entertainer. It doesn't really work though.
I think that definitely is a part of the feud.
Yeah.
Because you had the guy, it was last week was a sports entertainment
segment.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
But I don't think same promo segment is sports entertainment. That's Insider.
Yeah.
Jericho then still said, I'm going to tell you to GFY, which is cringy. And then Santana and Ortiz came in and fist bumped him.
Yep. So
they're turning on it.
They're turning on Jericho, right? Yeah. Glad we're on the same page there. Yep.
Because the problem is, if you give Eddie a win, which I think he should do by this point, you have then given Eddie a win.
Yes.
Which means like the whole underdog loser, I beat myself, I'm my own worst enemy thing is suddenly a bit done. However, if you give him a win because he's paired with Santana and Ortiz, then it's like, holy crap, that's interesting.
Problem is, though, Jericho's the heel. Turning heel on the heel, I don't think will work.
Kingston can make it work.
I don't, because I think that would put Jericho in a babyface light. He'd get cheered. If Santana and Ortiz joined him and turned on Jericho, they'd get cheered.
Yeah. Kind of like how the Kings of the Black Throne operate.
Yeah, kind of.
They could turn, when they turned heel on Cody, and everyone was like, yes!
Yeah, but that was against Cody, so,
After that, we had the CM Punk response to the Syndrome promo from MJF the previous week.
Mm-hmm.
He comes out wearing white. And
Feud Bryan Danielson confirmed.
Yeah. No, he loves wearing other people's merch. And at first I was like, this was like his whole speech, and it was long, and it was different because he didn't do a pause for pop. He was like out there acting like he was thinking out loud. And the crowd were just silent. The crowd were rubbish the whole night. But in this instance, I think they were genuinely captivated.
Yeah, I think so. It was more anticipation than it was boredom, for sure.
And Punk's sort of thesis was he's woken up every day for his entire life, look himself in the mirror, splash face on his face.
Splash face on his face.
All the face. And he asks himself, am I the bad guy?
Mm-hmm.
And with all the stuff with MJF and how he just, fobbed him off, how he left, dropped his ball and went home, or took his ball and went home, rather. What is he responsible for what MJF became? But then he's like, MJF should take the responsibility too, though.
Yeah.
Am I being gaslit here?
Mm-hmm.
When my hero, Stone Cold Steve Austin, took his ball and went home, which I think he said something lesser people would say, as a shot against WWE, because it's Punk.
Yeah.
That didn't do anything to Punk. So he was like, today I woke up and I asked myself, am I the good guy? I'm trying to be. And he invites Max out by this point, and he extends his hand for a handshake, and MJF hugs him with the most sincere, emotional hug, like a child being accepted by his father kind of hug.
Yep. That was nice.
Wait, what? Did you not like it?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
Yeah.
What? I thought we were on the same page here.
I've been waiting for this.
Oh no.
I thought the segment was good. I do not think it was a 10 out of 10. And I'll tell you why, but finish explaining the segment first.
MJF hugs him like, oh my God. I'm like, where the hell do they go from here? They've just resolved the entire story.
Right, yeah.
MJF steps back, kicks him in the dick.
Of course he does.
And he reveals it was all of this was premeditated. He opens his shirt. He's got the picture on a t-shirt, and the Pinnacle come down. They stop security from helping, and they give him the diamond ring. He knocks out Punk. Punk bleeds a gusher. I haven't seen that amount of blood on Punk since like ROH days, really, fittingly. And Sean Spears, dog collar, starts choking him over the top of the rope. There's, sort of parallels with other spots in Punk's career there. And MJF, I didn't know this, I've learned this since, when he says to Punk at the end, I'm a snake, that the greatest trick the devil did is to convince nobody didn't exist, etc. That is when Punk turned heel back in Ring of Honor. It's the same promo.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's real good. That's a very nice touch.
And then the Babyface Brigade ran down like way too late to help Punk.
Yeah. Way too late.
He was already dead.
Yeah. I really liked all of this, and I will clarify by saying that I think MJF's promo last week was one of the best promos I've ever heard in my life, and it was wonderful, amazing stuff. I didn't know what to expect from the promo this week, because I was really happy with where they left it for their match, of being like, I know why MJF hates Punk now. I understand that it's like you said, it's a supervillain origin story. This is why he hates Punk so much. He doesn't want to kill his idol, but he has to. It's consumed him for ages. He has to kill him now. The reveal of this one, there's a possibility that MJF is still feeling all those emotions from last week, and it's still very much like it's still eating him up inside, and he's just kind of mask it with his hate. I didn't get that vibe from this promo. To me, this was like, it was all a ruse. That promo last week, that was bullshit. It doesn't matter. Swear jar. That one doesn't matter. He just came out and he tricked CM Punk because he's such a good actor. Way! And I was like, oh, that's I wanted that character development for MJF. I wanted that supervillain origin story, and then for him to be like, it was all a trap. And I was like, I felt let down. I love character stories. They're my thing, you know, and I didn't believe that MJF still felt that way, because commentary was still putting over his way. Oh, he was lying the whole time and all that stuff.
They didn't.
They did say that.
No, they were like, they never said that. They said this bit was the ruse, but the stuff last week, like, they never denied that.
I might have misheard, but
I'm pretty sure that's how I certainly, because I took it the complete opposite to you.
Yeah, because for me it was like that the emotions and all that stuff just felt like it wasn't true anymore, which is upsetting for me because I wanted it to be true. That was the whole thing. So I was like, oh, that's okay, I guess. He's still MJF, he's still the bad guy, and I like that guy, but I just wanted the extra layer to it, which I didn't believe was now real.
So you feel like this segment sort of went back a step on what was developed last week?
Essentially, yes.
I feel like this added another layer on top. So it doesn't negate anything that was said last week. All those emotions are still there, but it's that moment, and you get it in every film, really, worth its salt, with a moral code, where the good guy, you know, it's the good guy versus the bad guy. They've got to have a battle at the end. And the good guy, because he is a good guy and he has a moral code, he gives the bad guy a chance. Like, I'm sorry, let's just make up now. Please don't do this. Please don't go the bad way. And the bad guy's like, oh, you're right, you know, let's do that. Kicking the balls. And then it's then the bad guy's choice. Like, they've put the good guy in that position. So they have to do it. And that to me was what this segment was. You needed to dial up the tension to a full-on blood feud level again, where Punk is like, I've got to kill you. I don't want to, but you've now laid this path.
Yeah. It was good. I'm still very, very excited for the match. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I'm sorry you didn't love it.
Yeah. Maybe it was just because last week was like pretty much perfection, that anything from that wasn't going to be as good. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
I've written here, not as good as last week, but still great.
Yeah.
But last week was the best thing they've done.
Oh, it's magic.
No, actually, I think the match as well. So both of those things. Keith Lee and Ricky Starks are backstage. Lee's going to have a warm-up match on Rampage. Why on earth hasn't he been wrestling every single week?
Don't want to overdo it. Also, Ricky Starks said, I'll see you when I see you. And Keith Lee said, I'll be there. Yes, because you'll be seeing him. That's sort of the point.
I'll be there. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter took on Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa. This was your standard AEW placement of a women's tag match, despite it having Baker in.
Yep.
A lot of it in the commercial break. The match wasn't great. The crowd were dead anyway, and the freaking MJF Punk stuff killed whatever, in a good way, killed whatever excitement they had.
Yeah.
And then, like, Rosa just hit her finisher on Baker and won. Kind of came out of nowhere. That's like, Baker does not get pinned. That's what Hayter's there for. So in that respect, like, build up the title match. They're fighting on Sunday. But you've had over a year since their last encounter to build this feud. And it both feels like you've waited too long and rushed it at the same time.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it, I think. They waited for ages, because all of us were like, all right, Rosa Baker 2, Rosa Baker 2, Rosa Baker 2. We're really excited for it, Rosa Baker 2. And anytime they interacted, we were like, all the crowd were like, oh yeah, Rosa Baker 2. And then they've waited just a bit too long. Rosa's gone off and done some other stuff. Baker's not been as interesting as she was before, I think, during the initial parts of her title reign. Some of that steam has kind of gone out of her character. And now Rosa's come into it. They haven't really built a proper story into it. It was Baker's hired Mercedes Martinez. She's also there. Now she's trying to defeat her, but now she's turned and she's with Rosa. And also there's Jamie Hayter who's having dissension with Baker, and also Hayter is in a feud with Mercedes Martinez as well at the same time. It's like, we just want Baker versus Rosa.
Yeah.
That's all we want. And it feels very like convoluted. And yeah, they haven't put as much focus on it as they should. All they need to do is, hey, remember that lights out match we had? Let's fight again. That's all you need to do.
It staggers me that we have not had a one-on-one promo segment between them.
Right?
Two great talkers. Well, you know, Baker's a fantastic talker. Rosa is certainly authentic. Like she could say, I would believe whatever she says.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a real shame. Do you think she's gonna? I mean, we'll save that for the predictions. Actually.
Yeah. Also, quick one. Stop hitting your champions. Just stop it.
Oh no. Occasionally it works.
Yeah, but like Baker also got pinned in the Riho feud as well, and people were like, "Oh, that's very specific because you know Riho has her number and she's never beaten her." I was like, "Okay, fine, well, you know, I'll let that one go." Rosa just pinned her here. I was like, "Why? You're in a tag match. Just don't."
I think it's in this instance and in the Rio one, it's a crutch because they haven't got a bigger story that they've told.
Yeah,
if they'd told a bigger story and that happened, I'd be all for it. Tay Conti and Anna Jay are backstage. Jay Cargill walked in and said, "No one cares about your karate S word." Great line. Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch got a video package ahead of their buy-in match.
Really like Layla Hirsch.
Yeah, she's great.
Her presence is so good.
Wardlow beat Cezar Bononi in under a minute. Like Bononi ran off the ropes and somehow walked into a powerbomb. He's a big guy.
It was great. Yeah.
3 powerbombs, pin.
Amazing. Bononi's a big boy. Got him up easy.
It's just, I do not think this is like them taking a shot at Amos. But literally on Raw, Amos had a match against Dijak, and the whole thing was he's never fought someone this big. And Wardlow's thing was he's never fought someone like Bononi.
But he faced, what's his name? Friggin' big hairy dude from the factory, Nick Comoroto.
Oh, yeah.
He faced him before.
Yeah, you're right.
He's a big dude.
Different build.
Different big dude.
What was great about this, though, was that afterwards, Spears, as his weird, psychotic way, went to hit Bononi with the chair afterwards, and Wardlow stopped him. And oh my God, the facials on both guys. You notice me saying facials has become a bit of a thing.
Oh, has it?
People keep like bringing it up, quoting like, Ollie says these guys have got great facials because it's a porn thing.
Oh yeah, I know that much.
If you didn't know.
Yeah. No, I got that.
But Wardlow's there, like so composed, like no mate, does not move.
Yeah.
And Sean Spears is there, also not moving.
Yeah.
But then his eyes just look behind him.
Spears' sell was fantastic. Really good timing on it. Of just like waiting for just right the amount of time. And then his eyes move. And then he lets go of the chair. And then his head turns. It was all like sorry to hit the microphone. Just all in steps, one after the other. And it all just flowed really, really perfectly. And then Spears like took off his beanie and got in Wardlow's face. And Wardlow stepped back up to him and towered over him and looked down at him. And he was like, all right. And just like decided to think against it. I thought for a second, he was going to leave. Wardlow turned around to celebrate. I thought Spears was going to whack him in the back with a chair. But he didn't. He just walked away.
Well, when Spears was exiting the ring, he did do a little bit of a double take.
Did look back and I was like, he's going to hit him with the chair. He's going to hit with the chair. And he didn't.
Excellent performance from both guys.
So good.
We got a Malachi Black promo. Well, it's a full house of Black, actually. And the house always wins. And then we cut backstage. MJF, well, Spears is with Wardlow. Spears is excited. He's like, hey, look what Max is going to give you. And MJF comes in and says, hey, you've been so good recently. If you win the TNT title, you get to keep it. I won't take it off you. You're not going to win it anyway.
It's like, not like you're going to win it anyway. And goes to walk away. Wardlow speaks up to MJF. And he's like, well, it's only because I'm too busy always making sure that you win. That got an audible ooh from the crowd, which was nice. MJF came back in, slapped Wardlow, and just reminded them that you don't work for AEW, you work for me. For words of me, you and your family be out on the streets. It's like, okay, I want the turn really bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah, you've got to think it's coming soon.
It's got to be coming soon. I would anticipate
coming sooner than Via? What are we getting first?
Oh, this turn is happening before Via. Yeah, definitely.
What do you want to bet?
$5.
Oh, it's too rich for my blood.
Right, because there's a point that me and Adam and Andy were talking about it on our lunch break. We were sort of fantasy booking Wardlow's turn on when we were playing Speedrunners, and we were saying that the turn shouldn't happen at Revolution because we don't want it to mar CM Punk's probable victory over MJF. You don't want it to be like he only won because of Wardlow, whatever. But we think a fun moment could be if MJF asks for the ring from Wardlow and he just turns away and walks off. Would be a really cool moment at Revolution, and that then fuels the eventual turn that would happen for the next like pay-per-view cycle, the next cycle after that, because then it can go straight into an MJF Wardlow feud after Revolution. Because I think that'll be a good next step for him.
100%.
Yeah.
Tony Khan bought an entire wrestling promotion on this episode.
Sure did.
I think it's a bit of an oversight that he hasn't signed Wardlow directly to a contract.
Did we ever get a Wardlow is All Elite? Has that ever happened?
I don't know. And the main event was Hangman Page tagging with John Silver and Alex Reynolds taking on Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. Great match, really fun, told an excellent story. Page and Cole were sort of initially... They just had this sequence where they reversed every single move. Mm-hmm. Then Cole would like back off from Page until Page played possum. Cole gets in like, well, and then Hangman just stands up like, no, I'm going to beat your ass now. But ultimately, Cole pinned Reynolds, as he should have done when you look at that lineup.
You notice that he didn't pin the champion in this match. It's so easy.
And they then gaffer taped Page's arms to the ring ropes and beat up the Dark Order and slapped him around a little bit as well. Tying into that whole theme of friendship that's such a big thing with Hangman. We're going to beat up your friends in front of you while none of your other friends come down for the save.
Yeah. I was either expecting more Dark Order to come out or the Young Bucks to further thing.
Yeah, that
with
would be nice.
So, you know, maybe it would be the babyface would come out, Young Bucks would come out to even the odds or whatever. They'd clear some of the Dark Order off, but then they'd stop them attacking Hangman more or something like that to try and further more of the tag feud and also the whole Elite story they got. But there was just nothing. It was just Undisputed Era stands tall, and that was the show. I was
really like that. I really like that. And all of a sudden, you've got the Young Bucks and Page on one side of the ring.
Exactly.
Just because he's gaffer taped. But then you've got Cole and Red Dragon on the other.
Precisely. That's what I was expecting. So I felt a little bit let down when it was like, and that's the show. I was like, oh, okay. That was all right.
That is a genuine go-home angle.
Yeah.
Because this go-home angle was just like, yeah, sure. No, I enjoyed the match. Yeah, that was a perfectly fine way to continue the story. But I don't buy Cole as a threat, really. But if you add in what you're saying, adding in the thing of, oh no, one of these factions could have all the belts, that's a lot more interesting.
I agree. I do agree with my own idea. Yeah.
Overall, I actually gave this the lowest score I've given Dynamite all year. I gave it 79%. Which is still a full like 10% over the next Raw.
Yeah, easily. And this was a decent show. This was good. It just wasn't great. That's what I put it at. Because we talk about this a lot, and I don't know if a lot of viewers share the same opinion. I'm of the opinion that a go-home show for a pay-per-view should be one of your better shows. That should be the one where you culminate all the big stories and you go, here's why you should buy the pay-per-view. Big angles, there's all the good stuff for you to see on the Sunday show. And this one felt like it was good. It did stuff to build the show. It featured all the people that are on the show. You know, it didn't, completely ignore the pay-per-view as some other companies sometimes do, where they just don't talk about the pay-per-view, whatever, or don't really build it at all. They still built the Sunday show, just I thought it was moderately effective. And it was a good show.
Last week's show was a much better go-home
show.
It
was,
for me.
Yes.
Let's see what you all thought, again, with the Omegachats. Opinionated movies. Just wanted to clarify, by Mark Indie Show, I meant the more flippy S-word gymnastics that guys like Omega, the Bucks, Cole all do, where they don't really sell much. Punk and Danielson aren't mainstream, but they're more Mid-South wrestling. I think you don't want to... One of the great things about AEW is the clash of styles. You don't want to separate those apart. Alamak, Tony Khan buys wrestlers and a wrestling promotion like it's a Steam sale. Am I going to play with this? I already have a backlog. I've only played with Keith Lee for 2 hours. Well, just put it in the cart. It's very funny. Russell Tyler Sanderson. ROH is much better off being owned by Tony Khan than a POS company like Sinclair that just buys up intellectual property S is all over it, then sells.
Probably.
Well, it's probably made a big old loss. Actually, no. They bought it back in 2011.
They probably
2010.
made a profit. Probably made a profit.
Off HDNet. I used to watch those shows. Anonymous says, honestly, get Hunter to run ROH as developmental. Dark and Elevation can be free channels where they stream good matches from ROH before moving them up to AEW. Hunter can easily have a creative group come up with stories and have a meeting with Tony.
Sure.
A lovely idea.
Yeah.
Doubtful it will happen.
No.
His father-in-law and wife are very high up in WWE. Rosa, Pete with... Actually, Tony Khan said this once, but it was back when Shane was released in an interview. He said something to the effect of, I don't think having a family member of the owner of my biggest competition in my company is a smart move.
Yeah,
because
pretty much.
It could be a spy. Rosa, Pete, with this deal just being done within the past 2 to 3 days, and with all the assets they have, it will be a little bit before they know what they're going to do. As an Honor Club member, I'm so excited. Imagine how you'd feel if WWE got hold of it.
Oh, significantly worse, for sure. But I will still say you wouldn't have bought it unless you had an idea of what you wanted to do with it. You wouldn't just buy it for the sake of it.
Christopher Jazzcathausen. Sad news about ROH. They were a true alternative and a spiritual successor to ECW. They will be missed. This happened to coincide with AEW raising their prices on Fight. Not sure I'm going to renew, to be honest. We'll see how I feel going forward.
Fair enough.
Most people, I think, are very excited, but there have been a few who are like, it's a shame.
Yeah. I think people just like having more options, more promotions out there. So having more promotions come together is not necessarily what people want to see.
Nick Corvello, in regards to the ROH news, what do you think will happen to Impact's current ROH-related storylines? The Honor No More faction and Deonna Purrazzo as ROH and AAA champ. Will Impact have Deonna drop the belt ASAP and Honor No More quit mentioning ROH? Potentially.
Potentially. I don't think so. I think that TK would probably just let that storyline play out, let it just continue as it is for a little bit before changing into whatever direction he wants to take it.
Or just buy Impact as well.
Sure.
Temraza again. The ROH DLC in the AEW game will be incredible. Yes, it will. William Regal for new ROH GM talent manager. He has such a legit, very good background in scouting, so that would be a great hire. Can't wait for that hour-long BTE after this week's huge week in AEW. All In should be an additional pay-per-view in the year now as well. Cody needs to be head of ROH. #excited. William Tocci Jr. Down a Pete not appreciating the whole ROH thing? Boo. Think of what this could set up. A possibility for an All-In 2? Also, Tony's Twitter announcement of this says it's solely owned by Tony, not AEW, so maybe it is a separate company. Jam that jam. ROH is all elite.
Sorry, I just don't have the emotional attachment to Ring of Honor. Sorry.
It's fair enough. Legit underboss. ROH should be an NXT type where the younger member of the rosters like Hook, Anna Jay, Lee Moriarty can wrestle every week instead of once a month. Also, you're less popular than Glenn Jacobs' tweets was the line of the night. Forget about it, cuz.
Forget about it, Kerr.
Forget about it, Kerr.
I don't like the idea of people wrestling every week. I quite like that they get cycled in and out.
Oh, yeah.
As part of the regular programming. I think it is detrimental to have a talent wrestle every week.
I think what Legit Underboss is saying is the younger wrestlers should get more reps.
More experience, yeah.
So not necessarily televised.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Hot take.
Of course. About the Punk MJF stuff, Lakshmi Narasimhan B says, as great and heartfelt as MJF's promo was, I, and probably most people, did see this coming. Still, who else thought of Jake Roberts when MJF said, I'm a snake? I was hearing whispers of trust me in my head. Here's to never turning him face. #jam that jam.
He's a face to me.
Dixon Sider said, hi guys, I'm putting this out early, but as an anime fan who knows the intricacies of villains and their origin stories, when Twitter sympathized MJF, that was their first mistake. Once a villain is a villain, he can't be changed.
No, villains have redemption arcs all the time.
Absolutely. Zeke the Freak, yes, that one, said, speaking of lackluster title feuds, one of the conversations we were having in the crowd was whether or not CM Punk vs MJF would or should main event. I insisted it wouldn't because the World Championship match would, but Punk vs MJF should due to the build.
It's the best storyline. It's the biggest profile match. I agree, but I think Tony's already said he'll be putting the World Championship match on last.
Yep.
And I agree, but I don't want to follow Punk MJF.
No. Goodness me. Harrison Earl said, 100% agree with you on the MJF promo, Pete. Just makes it look like Max was lying about everything last week, completely undoes the sincerity of it, and actively ruins that segment. I wouldn't go that far, personally. A better angle to take would be MJF refusing Punk's apology, for me at least.
I think he did refuse the
Well, yeah, he did. Yeah. I also wouldn't... Yeah, I don't think it ruined last week's one. It just made me go, oh... Okay, because it was still a magic promo, and MJF's a genius when it comes to acting. Kevin said, I totally expected MJF to hit a low blow while hugging Punk and then say, I got my hug, but it's too late now, and then destroy Punk like he did. So I get why Pete felt this way. It doesn't make the segment worse in my view, but I understand him. About Baker Rosa, Dan Torkel said, how's this for the women's title? Britt retains when Ring of Honor champ Deonna Purrazzo interferes. At Supercard of Honor, Rosa wins the Ring of Honor title from Deonna, leading to a title-for-title ladder war between Britt and Rosa at Double or Nothing.
I don't know why it would be a ladder war, but that's, yeah, I like all of that. It gives Baker a win and Rosa an unofficial win.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool rubber match there.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Nick Corvello said, hey guys, glad to be up early again to Omega Chat. I'm really glad Darius Martin got the showcase he did in the Royale. Was afraid he'd be eliminated first since Dante is over, but they gave Darius the much needed spotlight to reintroduce him to new fans.
Yeah, that was a good bit of booking.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got lots of chats. I just scrolled ahead. Thank you, everybody.
Oh my God, we do. All right, let's continue on the AEW miscellaneous one. Sadie Deeganhausen, hello, said, hey, beautiful boys. Dynamite was so much fun. Love the shout out to Shane McSweaty by TK. So happy to see Darius is back. Top Flight looked like stars. I really want Wangman to retain over Budge. And MGF made me cry for the second week. K-bye. Thank you.
And the emojis.
It's a little bear.
A little polar
kind
bear.
of waving. And a heart. Thanks. Zoe Sung said, everyone loves the Acclaimed. Yes, I'm so happy they got the massive pop. Also, MGF is New Age Ring of Honor CM Punk. He's a snake after all. Best face besides Hangman and the Acclaimed. Very good. Charles Berg said, Brian shakes Daniel's hand. Me. Oh, that's nice. Brian grabs Daniel's hand after the fight. Me. Oh, that's not nice. Punk and MGF hug. Me. Oh, that's nice. Punk bleeding more than Flair on a day off. Me. Oh, that's not nice. Page versus Cage on Rampage. Nice.
Yeah, not a good day for sort of welcoming gestures.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they got off on that one. Yeah, also, yeah, Ethan Page versus Christian Cage for the last Face of the Revolution qualifier on Rampage, which I kind of, sort of, unintentionally spoiled on Wrestle League. My bad.
Oh, no. I wondered why Christian Cage was on there.
And you just said it
I
now.
just
Spoiled it again. Anyway. Fran Chile said, I mean, did anyone really think that Christian Cage was going to lose? Fran Chile said, really, Ollie, the lowest of the year, this is one of the best go-homes they've done. This is why the people want Pete and Tempest to review the shows. I was probably more negative than Ollie was for this episode. Take the challenge, you cowards. Sorry, Luke, you are just guilty by association. Hashtag LIW for life. Thanks, but I did actually agree with Ollie on this episode. But honestly, seriously, you really need to rate some Dynamites 5 out of 5. I know you changed the rating system now, but seriously, that was crazy.
Hey, people wanted a change. I don't think they'll ever see it a full 100.
Nope. You never know, though. Legus King, say, if they do that Ring of Honor Invasion angle and have the exact thing that you fantasy booked, Danielson and Punk turn and they join Team Ring of Honor, would you give it 100?
No, because for 100, it has to be better than what I've already thought.
And they're joined by Samoa Joe.
Well, now you've said it, I can't do that one.
Yeah. Legus King said, great episode. I'm even more excited for the weekend now. I'll be watching The Batman on Friday and watching Revolution in a movie theater nearby. The theater also plays the buy-in, so I'll be spending 8 hours in the theater this weekend. Goodness me. That's a long time. Omar Josue said, firstly, I wanted to apologize for not making such an obvious connection in the last week's episode to not only you guys, but anyone I could have possibly offended by not realizing my mistake in the moment. Mistakes like these will only happen once. Now that's been said, I feel that an AEW streaming service is kind of inevitable, right? Having the tape library of both your 3-year-old company as well as Ring of Honor's 20-year-old history, I feel like we're waiting on a release date at this point, maybe after Revolution?
Yeah, I think that's it's probably... Tony's always said it was part of his plan. And yeah, but nobody, I think, thought what you were saying last week was intentional. So don't feel bad about that. You recognised it.
Nick Corvello said, Dan Housen has gone from just helping Orange Cassidy to helping another Best Friend member in Trent. Surely this means he's going to be a member of Best Friends soon,
God.
Right? If so, that means he'll be a member of New Japan's Chaos, and I'm all for it.
I hate Chaos. Is that why they're called Chaos?
Because they're so chaotic, man. Who knows? Stephen Guzman said, I love Hangman as champ and still think he should hold it for a while, but MJF surely has to be the one to take it off of him. Give MJF a really long run, and then I truly believe Eddie Kingston needs to be the man to take it off MJF.
All my favourites!
Yeah, literally, all my favourites. We were talking about this earlier. I mean, we could probably talk about this in the prediction stream, but maybe have a think now. If Hangman does retain, who do you think his next challenger will be? Charles Berg says, so I switched the first letters of wrestlers' names for fun. Here's some AEW favourites. Rhodey Chodes, Mon Joxley, Ronda Thosa, Hat Mardy, Jat Maxon, Mick Naxon, the Bong Yucks, Britt Baker, Britt Baker,
made me laugh the most.
Britt Baker, Thuck Kayla, Gammy Savara. Okay, I've got no more Jam That Jam. Thanks, Charles Berg.
The only one that made me laugh there was Britt Baker.
Britt Baker, yeah. Model Fiber said, hey guys, first time Ultra Chat, currently on my way to Orlando for Rampage and Revolution. I am so effing excited. Thanks for all the work you do. LIW for life, Jam That Jam. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great time. Nate S said, how can you pick what match steals the show? MJF Punk, Adam, Thunder Dr. Britt, Mox Danielson, Tag Triple Threat. This card is absolutely stacked. Can't wait. I'm so excited to go Jam That Jam. Last night, it was significantly smaller crowd than usual for sure, but I thought we still sounded pretty good and felt like there was good energy all night. Maybe didn't come across on TV.
I'd say it was one of the weakest crowds in a long time, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Like you said, maybe they just weren't mic'd correctly or something. Austin Falco said, I think Ollie might be right in his review about Tony Khan being on some sort of drugs. He has 3 women's matches booked for a single show on Sunday. In all seriousness, it's great to see the division being given time, even if the builds are a bit lackluster. I agree. The bad one, Jam Beard, said, 79%? Really, Ollie? This was easily a 90% show and a great go-home show. Also, could you make the Revolution watch-along show as a fundraiser show to help Ukraine?
I haven't really thought about doing anything like that. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
The 79%, yeah. It's because I've got other shows that I've ranked, I can quite easily now go back and go, oh, I gave this, that thing. So for me, subjectively, it is 79.
Stone Cold Steve Atkin said, I know logically Wardlow or Keith Lee should win the ladder match, but surely the visual of Claudio Castagnoli literally grabbing the brass ring is an unmissable opportunity. Also, it should be Hayter who beats DMD, not Rosa, then Statlander after Hayter.
I like Hayter, but come on, Rosa is money.
Absolutely.
She needs the belt.
Absolutely.
She deserves, she would be great with the belt.
Also, my keyboard has come up and I can't get rid of it, and now I can't read the chats anymore.
Do you want me to read?
Yes.
Zeke the Freak, yes, that one. I was at the show last night. First time at an AEW show, great time. I had a support WrestleTalk sign, but I was behind the ring post opposite the hard cam. FML. Also, Rebel told me to STFU, and it was the best moment of my life. I wish I got it on camera. Kevin, call me a nitpicker, but what's the point of interviews in AEW? Tay Conti didn't even say a word and then immediately said, of course they're going to interrupt me.
Happened twice on this show of someone being like, I'm here with this person, and they're interrupted. It's like, is there any point at this point?
Tony Schiavone is a glamorized mic stand. B. Teterick. It's moved. B. Teterick. What do you think are the odds that Veer's debut actually happens at AEW instead of Raw?
I legitimately could see it.
Pretty low.
Oh, that'd be great.
Matt Carney. With AEW and WWE going for different markets, out of these 4 options, is WWE, number 1, a toy company? Number 2, a wrestling company with some elements of a toy company? 3, a wrestling company? 4, a toy company with some elements of a wrestling company?
2?
I would say 2, but I would say, they're not a toy company anymore. They are a IP company, similar to Disney.
Yeah.
Tamruza, I can see it in the next TV negotiations, Rampage becoming 2 hours and put in a better time slot. In terms of Revolution, this is going to be a ridiculously incredible show. Can't wait. Can't wait for the live Rampage and for the TNT title shot. Thank you, Tony Khan. It's not live.
I don't think it is live, is it?
It was taped.
No,
That's how we know the result.
Yeah. But it is in Orlando, right? And people are on their way to Rampage to watch it live. Oh. I thought it was a live one, but then when I went to go check the card to put on Wrestle League, it said that Christian Cage was in the match. So I was like, maybe they just got it wrong on Wikipedia. It's been known.
Rick Jarrett, wouldn't Tony have to give Wardlow a contract if he becomes champion?
Yeah, you'd think so. Yeah?
Zareph, has been a member 7 months. I really wonder how many titles will change on Sunday, but I'm excited for Revolution nonetheless. Looking forward to Keith Lee's tune-up match on Friday.
Yeah, boy.
Carl MacVicker, I have a conspiracy for you guys. With Hunter not even being backstage and pretty much all of his team cut or have lesser roles, do you think that he has a problem with Steph or Vince? I can't wait for Revolution. Got my whiskey and food ready. Jam that jam.
I find it very amusing if he had a problem with Steph.
I think there's obviously something amiss. Vince is disappointed that NXT lost to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H is being corporately punished for that.
Yes.
Double Beef Gaming, thanks for your donation. Keith Lloyd just giving away $5 American to Boo Ollie. LIW for life.
Thank you.
Laximham Narasimham B. Well, usually Ollie's the negative one in these streams. I guess he can take the chopper out of the All Authority, but he can't take the All Authority out of the Chop Chops.
I'm sorry, all right? I just say what I think. People say that I just hate WWE and I love AEW. I don't. I hate them both. I don't hate them both. I just say it like it is.
Fran Chili, never mind, Pete. You have failed us. Clearly, the All Authority is back. Let's just get Luke and Tempest on these reviews.
That would be a long show.
Oh
they can both talk for a long time.
Hector Rodriguez has become a member. Nice work. Mundy says that you should both be ashamed of yourself. You call yourself champions. Luke Owen always wore that title with honor and pride. I think it should be a triple threat at WrestleJamia for both titles. Tribal Pete versus Ollie Davis versus Luke Owen DAD Jam that jam.
Maybe. Probably not, though, because we've already had the Rumble winners. The Jamble winners, sorry.
Well, thank you very much for all your chat. Sorry about the extra length show today. We'll be back in like 15 minutes because we're going to be doing our predictions for Revolution. But for now, I've been Ollie Davis. It's been Chopper Pete. Jam that jam.
Where's the outro? It's here, I think.